Be sitting here on top of her face. Alright, this is Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. I have not played it. In fact, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing Senua correctly. I've heard it's a very impressive game. Particularly, it takes advantage of what Ninja Theory is great at, which is creating realistic human characters and telling really interesting stories, and so I'm looking forward to it.
Hello. Who are you? Doesn't matter. Welcome. You're safe with me. I'll be right here, nice and close so I can speak without alerting the others. Let me tell you about Senua. Her story has already come to an end, but now it begins anew.
What's happening? It's breathing. The head. It's breathing. It's breathing. He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching. They're watching. They're watching.
This is a journey deep into darkness. There will be no more stories after this one.
What is she doing? Why is she doing this? They're watching. Why doesn't she know coming? She's doing this for him. She wants to rescue him. He's already dead. I can feel you coming. Quiet.
Oh, how rude of me. I never told you of the others. You hear them too, right? They've been around ever since the tragedy. Well, that's not quite true. Some are old, some are new. They've changed. I think the darkness changed them, just like it changed her.
Here's the problem with streaming this. I don't want to talk.
Why isn't she looking?
I don't want to interrupt any of this.
Look, up ahead. You see it too?
You promised you can.
Yes. It is real after all. She's finally arrived in the land of mist and fog. The place the Northmen call Hell.
Turn back. Go back. Go back. It's not safe. Go back. Go back. Go back. It's not safe.
It's them. They're here.
You see them?
I've been told this game is meant to simulate the feeling of hearing voices.
Look around and you will see them. The drowned, the sick, the slain. Here they lie, rotting in the fields and rivers of hell. But the dead don't always lie still here. This is not a place of rest.
You can't do this. Go back. Go back.
I'd love to.
Do that to you. Can you see them?
Whoa.
Can you see them? They're going to do that to you.
I would love to hear
They're watching.
the reaction of an actual
Can you feel them watching?
schizophrenic to this experience. Like,
They're watching her.
how like the experience of hearing voices is this?
You're so close to the darkness. Go back. Can you feel it?
What is she thinking? I can tell you. She's afraid. Wouldn't you be? You'd think she would get used to it by now after so many years. But the darkness, it just builds onto itself, growing stronger, towering over her. You might try and ignore it, turn away. But it's always there, just out of sight. where you're most vulnerable. It's like it knows that just enough light is all you need to see its suffocating power.
They can feel
You might think she's brave to go on this journey on her own, but it isn't bravery that drives her. Bravery only means something to those afraid of death. Senua's fear runs far, far deeper. What is she looking at? What is she leaving behind? I know what she's thinking. I hear her thoughts. It's not too late to get into the boat and go back. No one will judge her. No one will ever know. Oh, she heard us. There's no going back.
You can't do it.
Senua pushes away a world that conspired to cause so much suffering. There's nothing to go back to, and worse to look forward to. Why don't you join us? Maybe you too have a part to play in this story.
It's nice to see the range of talent that they have in Ninja Theory. This game is really different, visually, tonally, everything from their last game, Devil May Cry, which I also loved. But it's cool to see that they're good at creating
Focus.
this tone
Look closer. Look.
too.
Use your eyes. Why isn't she looking closer? She needs to look closer. Focus.
Do not forget my stories, Senua. Because your darkness comes from hell, and your fate lies there. They say the burning of a corpse will take you straight to Hela's gate, but gods and the living will follow this path. You must leave the Isles of Orkney across the eastern sea and find a road that leads north and down through deep, dark valleys. After 9 nights of riding, you will follow a great river and will find a bridge covered in gold. The path to Helheim goes from there, across the river of knives that flows from the dark world of Niflheim.
So they didn't pop any control prompts on the screen. They didn't say, hold the right trigger to focus. They just had the voices in my head flip out until I figured it out, which was, I've never seen that before. Also, a standing stone just told her about something about the Orkney Isles, which reminds me of a Lorena McKennitt song I used to listen to like 20 years ago. Makes me want to get that album out again. The way she moves is just so real. Sorry to do this. I feel like I'm breaking into something here, but I gotta invert the y-axis. When I'm in charge of the camera work, I definitely wanted to play to my strengths.
for life, hungers for it, like a pack of wolves on a hunt. She's not stopping.
I'm observing all the stuff I want to comment on, but I don't want to break into the experience.
Not this time.
So the visual and audio intensity that they added there, just that feels like the kind you get like in certain kinds of nightmares, right? Where just something is suddenly just really mentally emphatic for you, and I don't know how to explain it beyond that, but they did a good job of sort of making me think of those moments in nightmares. Makes me just wonder how much of this is she really seeing at all, right? I mean, is this just, how much of this is in her head? How much of it is real? I mean, whether it's real or not, she clearly has something going on. And also, that was probably the best wading in chest deep in water animation I've ever seen in a video game. So, those are all things I wanted to say, but
Can you see it?
this is like a dream. We're just suddenly in a different place.
Mist and fog.
He's in there.
The old fool was right.
You see it?
What was it he said? The river of knives across which lies the halls of hell. The place they call Helheim.
He's lost.
Where are you? I hear you.
He's there, you know.
There's no doubt about
He's
it.
lost.
The source of the darkness is in Helheim, and the goddess Hela holds his soul there. Her dear beloved, Dillian.
It's interesting that I'm playing this right after having played Mandagon, which is this.
Why is she doing this? Why doesn't she turn
It's a very different kind of game, but
this for him?
thematically, they're both about descending into the underworld to save a loved one.
His soul still lives. She needs to save his soul. She wants his soul to be at peace. She needs to lay him to rest. He's already dead. She can save him.
This
There's
world
nothing
is
she can do.
beautiful.
She's going to save him. She's not going to save him. She'll never make it to Helheim. She can't let him rot here. She needs to try.
Hey Turfuma, thanks for coming.
The bridge to Helheim. I forget its name. She forgets too. But she does remember that only the dead may cross it. That part wasn't so easy to forget. The old fool said there was a hidden path up to it. Let's see, shall we?
Turvama points out that it's a good thing I'm playing this with headphones. They're definitely doing a lot with the sort of stereo surround experience to help it feel like, you know, these voices are coming from all over the place. I'm not sure how well that translates for the stream, so it's worth pointing out. Alright, so it looks like, you know, I want to cross over to this monstrous place, and I need to get up there. This thing has fallen. Is it something I can climb? Or maybe these stairs. Another standing stone.
Northmen speak of 9 worlds. The world of men they call Midgard. Sky gods dwell in Asgard. The gods of earth, harvest, wind, and sea dwell in Vanaheim. The good elves dwell in Alfheim. The evil ones dwell in Svartalfheim. The mountain giants dwell in Jotunheim. The fire giants dwell in Muspelheim. Niflheim is the world of ice and darkness. Only the dead dwell in Helheim. And that is where you must travel.
So it sounds like these little narrations, these are memories that I'm having. Whoever sent me here, whoever told me that this was where I needed to come, this is what they said before I left. It's interesting. So it sounds like, okay, push the A button. Again, I love it the way that they teach you new mechanics. They don't put a button on the screen. They just tell you there's something for you to figure out right there. When you get close to it, the voices in your head just flip out. And it makes you experiment, and you eventually find the thing you need to do.
You don't know where you're going. Go on. 4.
Good morning, 420. Good to see you. I have trouble saying your I have trouble saying your full name while playing a game this serious.
What's down there? We've got to go. Do you know where you are?
Why did she do that?
She shouldn't have done it.
She can't go back now. No, this is it. The hidden path.
Turfama asks, did you hear about the permadeath thing in this game, by the way? I hope you're kidding. Okay.
It's going to hurt you.
It's dangerous.
Don't kill me. I'm not one of them.
Don't listen.
I was just hiding. I find I live longer that way. Don't listen. The bastards catch me again. Never! Wait. Who are you?
It's just a memory.
Druth? Is that you?
Around you now.
For my tales of the Northmen, they call me Druth. Liar.
He's
An old fool. Druth is my truth.
It's good to see you again. You kept your vow.
Guide you in this life and the next. I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Tell me your stories again, old friend. I'm listening.
The runes seal the gates to hell. Focus your inner eye, and you too will see what's hidden in plain sight.
You have to take a closer look to see. Why isn't she focusing? She needs to focus now. She needs to use
I can see one.
Hold it in your mind's eye. Find one like it to open the gate.
Hidden secret.
I'm not sure what else I need to be doing besides holding this trigger. Oh, wait. Okay, there's a very faint shimmering thing. Maybe I can line it up? feel like I am.
It's a secret. He's not
Am I doing it wrong?
It's just
That looks like it's in the right place. I must be missing something. Oh, okay. That wasn't a thing I should do. So Turvamot says that rumor has it if you die again and again in this game, your arm slowly turns black, and if it reaches your heart, you're just dead forever. Or your brain, you're dead forever. That's interesting. Now I kind of hope that's true, just because it's interesting. Yeah, so I've got this rune in my vision, and I feel like I should just be able to line it up here. Yeah, that's not working. Okay, no, stop doing that. I'm just... Sorry, I keep pushing other buttons to try to see if that'll make a difference, and when I do that, she grabs the door, and that doesn't seem to be the right move. Well, this isn't going to be the most exciting stream in the world if it's just watching me fail to figure out what I'm supposed to do here. So there's all these like images around the edges of my vision. As I get closer, they get huger. So I'm all the way back here. Trying to see, is it giving me something? Is there some clue in these superimposed images? Like, can I line them up almost like I'm trying to do one of those magic eye puzzles? Is there a way to make them converge? If it takes me an hour to figure this out, I'm probably going to try to cut it out of any video that I post. Because nobody wants to watch this. So 420, this is Hellblade. Senua's Sacrifice. And it's made by Ninja Theory. Same people who did, you know, those other games. Heavenly Sword, Enslaved, Devil May Cry. And they're really, really good at making people. Making a world that seems like it's real. I am not figuring this out. I mean, that seems to be lined up. I push a button and she just abandons it and tries to open the door. There is something I'm missing here, and I just don't know what it is. Yeah, I get it. This rune, I know, it's important. So you can see, yeah, like there's right side down, right side up, and upside down images. They kind of converge when I'm looking straight at it. What am I missing?
It's just that.
What am I doing wrong? I've learned how to focus. Yes, Turfama, please give me a hint. Walk away from the door. Okay. I just tried that.
It's near.
Oh.
Focus. You'll find it. Look towards the gate. And the gate will open.
Alright, so the lesson I learned from the Standing Stones was I need to focus on glowy things. So
The gate is open. Go through the gate. Go through it. It's dangerous.
I mean, I like that mechanic. I feel like maybe the voices in my head could have helped me out a little bit more with that. But luckily,
I spent 6 years enslaved in hell. But I watched the Northmen. Learned their ways.
I know you did.
You listened when everyone else laughed. My people paid a heavy price.
so
Carry my stories with you. And together we will make the Northmen feel our fury.
I was about to say, she has the voices in her head, but I have an actual Northman talking to me, telling me what to do. So that's helpful. Thank you, Turfama.
Another voice joins us. She once tried to make them go away. Pretend they weren't real. But what good is that? When we are always here.
This seems like I would die doing this in real life. But then I'm not a Celtic warrior. One thing I like about the setting of this is that it really takes into account the complexity and like the cosmopolitanness of ancient societies. You know, usually if you're gonna set something within, you know, Norse mythology, you'll pick a Norse person as your main character, but they didn't. They chose someone from a different society, and it sort of, I don't know, underscores that we tend to oversimplify when we're
This is the same with heights.
talking about ancient cultures.
Stand on the edge.
These people knew each other,
Pretend it's going to be okay.
and in this case,
But you know that death is near, waiting for you to make that little slip.
whoa, whoa.
You can't just
Did I just, was that me? Did I just do that? Previously, I have not actually had to be in control of how she balanced on things. So,
Don't fall. Don't fall. Don't fall.
thank you, voice in my head. Oh. Anyway, I was going to say, it sounds like being the victim of the Northmen. I don't know. When you're thinking who the main character of your story is, and you've got a setting, usually the question you want to ask yourself is who suffers the most in this world. And if we're talking about Helheim and, you know, the Nordic mythology, the Norse aren't actually the ones, you know, the Vikings. They're not the ones that you need to worry about. It's the people who live in the places that the Vikings raid that suffer the most.
The world of the dead is ruled by the giantess, Hela, daughter of Loki. The gods feared her bloodline, bad on her mother's side and yet much worse on her father's. So, as a child, the All-Father cast her down into Helheim and gave her power over those who die of sickness, age, hardship, and self-slaughter. In all of the 9 worlds, only Hela can resurrect the dead. To Hela, your Dillion was sacrificed, and with her you must bargain.
All right. Ah, there we go. Oh, earlier 420 asked me what I was playing this on, and I'm playing this on my new PC. One-way door. So it's a PC I bought specifically so that I could work from home, which means it's got to be able to run not only published video games, but unpublished video games. Which means it's fairly powerful. It's not completely top of the line, obviously, but it's better than one I used to use.
Stay back. Look at it. You have to open it.
The gate to Helheim divides the living from the
Hey there, Adele.
Is that
Thanks
the
for joining
voice of
us.
Hela herself, the half-rotten goddess that rules over Helheim. Whatever horrors lie behind that door, she must find him. Shh. Someone's here.
Stop looking at me. Now and then she glances at the camera and it weirds me out.
You took him from me. I beg you. Let him go. I'll give you what you want. I won't resist anymore. Just give him back.
Yeah. Another one.
Behind you.
I don't know what to do with those shadow ones.
what's to come. Poor Senua. The darkness does not bargain, does not reason. It is wrought, and now it has taken hold. It will spread towards her head, the seat of the soul, until there is nothing left of her. All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
There you go, Tirpama. I'm screwed. I'm not gonna ever see the end of this game.
The hardest battles are fought in the mind. That is what Dillian taught her. With every defeat, the dark rot will grow and soon it will take her soul. But for now, at least, she still has control of her mind. And she will fulfill her vow, whatever the cost.
Listen to me, Senua. The goddess Hela lies behind the gate to Helheim. To open the gate, you must first face the gods that guard it. The god of fire, Zurt, and the god of illusion, Valravan. Spill their blood to open the gate to Helheim and enter the land of the dead.
To Dillian, to her soul.
It won't open.
How will she get through? Why won't it open? Why can't she open? She needs to challenge the gods.
She has to fight two gods first.
Two gods?
Two gates.
Which will she choose first? One of them will kill her, I know. She's going to die.
Which one will she challenge first?
Be very careful, Senua.
Choose a gate, Senua.
Two gates, two gods.
She's too scared.
Which one?
I think I'm not going to choose yet. I think it's getting late. So, I think we'll come back to this. But one point that Tervama made earlier on that I skipped was that it's nice that they're spending some time with the other Norse gods, not just your typical Thor and Odin. And a lot of the stories we hear, especially, obviously with Marvel superhero movies, we just hear the stories of these gods being heroic or having all this drama between them, and the stories are about the gods. I like that this is a story about someone whose loved one was sacrificed to a god. That, ancient, beliefs in Norse mythology, they weren't just about these heroic stories, the Vikings sacrificed people, and there were, they conquered people and raided people, and life in this world was not about heroism. It was about suffering, and seeing that angle on these gods is pretty interesting. So yeah, I think I'm going to cut this off here, but next time I get a chance to stream in the evening, I'll come back to this because this is fascinating. Another thing, by the way, that I like about this is that they found a way a compelling way for me to fail in that combat. I mean, I had to learn how to actually fight. I had to learn how to dodge, I had to learn how to hit, and I learned that I had a couple of different kinds of hits. I learned I had to kick. I'm betting a lot of those will end up becoming useful fighting different kinds of enemies in the future. So it gave me some time to learn all of those, but then once I had learned them all, it put me in a situation where I could keep fighting as long as I wanted to, but eventually I was going to fail and I was going to die, and then have that horrific moment where my characters, the life left my character's eyes, and then it was a vision and it was okay, but it was also it felt like it was still meaningful, you know, like I was it still impacted my hand. It's black now, right, because of that experience. And it's important in any dramatic story that your character be able to fail. You know, that's one of the things that's tough about video games. One of the reasons why the stories we tell in video games are so uncompelling a lot of the time is because real drama, depends on your hero failing a lot, hitting a lowest point at some point where they are barely able to survive by the skin of their teeth. And in video games, unfortunately, you know, to progress you have to win. And so they're filled with one victory after another instead of one failure after another. And so the kinds of stories you can tell are very different. Yeah. So Trivama points out that, giving me some hints about the future here, that the voices in your head actually will help you out during the fights. I wished they had helped me out when I couldn't figure out how to solve that rune puzzle. But they do help me. They do help me out in the fights, apparently. Oh, they'll tell you if somebody comes. I saw that actually. That they'll tell you if somebody's coming up behind you, and stuff like that. Triffermoss says that the game's about 6 to 8 hours long, so hopefully I'll be able to complete it. We'll have to see how I do. I don't have a lot of faith in my ability to learn combat systems and perform very well at them. Only certain kinds of combat systems fall into my wheelhouse. So, but yeah, part of the reason why I'm cutting this off right now is just because this game's kind of emotionally intense. Like, I don't know if I can like maintain it, you know, over a long period of time. Eventually, I'll even if it wasn't, you know, 12:30 a.m. right now my time, I'd still be getting exhausted. But for now, that is Hellblade.